Hello. Do you want to play a game?
Be food and drink and ghosts, and perhaps even a few murders. You're all invited.
Hello and welcome to Cheers to Fears, where we combine alcohol and horror for your entertainment. Today we are going to be making a drinking game based on Cocaine Bear, released in 2023. Cocaine Bear was directed by Elizabeth Banks, who is mainly an actor who plays Tori in Brightburn and Rachel in The Uninvited as far as horror connections go. The writer is Jimmy Warren, who is an actor in The Babysitter, and he was a writer for The Babysitter Killer Queen.
In Cocaine Bear, we follow drug lords, lost kids, a park ranger, some teenage misfits, and plenty of others. The most notable is a bear that does cocaine. Since all of these people happen to be in the woods at the same time as a bear is high on cocaine, one can only wonder who will make it out of this alive.
Since Cocaine Bear was released this year, we will not have totals for this drinking game. However, it is worth mentioning that some of the rules will have minor spoilers for them, so just be aware of that, but it's not going to be too much to take you out of the movie. With that being said, let's get on to rule number 1.
Yeah, which is death, as usual. And we're not going to go into any details about it, just for spoiler reasons, but there's a lot of death, and a lot of it's pretty gruesome, but the special effects are pretty damn cool.
Let's move on to rule number 2, which is whenever you hear a scream, cry, or yell, you take a sip. Again, we have no totals for this, but we expect the amount should be at least decently high.
Oh yeah, I would expect it to be high for sure. And another rule that you can expect to be high in the amount of sips it gives you is whenever cocaine is seen or mentioned. And it being Cocaine Bear, this happens a lot. So be prepared for this rule.
Yeah, speaking of cocaine, the other one we have is bear. So whenever you see a bear, you take a sip. Obviously, these two rules are the titles of the movie, so expect to see them quite a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, let's move right along to rule number 5. It's whenever a red duffel bag is seen. And this is generally a bag that has cocaine in it, but there is one instance where it's like the EMS workers or the medics or whatever show up. They have a red first aid bag that's also a duffel bag, so we got to include that. It doesn't happen a ton of times, but a good handful of times for sure.
I think it happens a good chunk of times.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on to the next rule. Rule number 6 is whenever the bear attacks somebody. Reminding you, this is probably going to stack with death a lot.
Yeah, in a lot of instances. Sometimes it attacks people that don't die, though, so it'll be higher than death, I think.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's move on to rule number 7. And this is one that kind of balances out the rules a little bit, gives you a little less sips. It's whenever Eddie gets emotional. And like I said, it only happens a few times.
Yeah, Eddie, emotional guy. But you can see where he's coming from. That might be another death, which is why he's emotional.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on to rule number 8, which is whenever Rosette the dog is seen or mentioned. Again, no total sips, but it happens maybe about as much as Eddie getting emotional, maybe a little bit more. I don't think it's over 10 though.
No, I don't think it would be. I think it'll be single digits. And the only reason we included this is because A, it stands out, and B, it's again one rule that kind of balances it out to not put it way over the top for difficulty.
Definitely.
But it is the detective's dog, so just keep that in mind, I guess. But let's move on to the second last rule. It's rule number 9. Whenever somebody's body part is severed, you take a sip. This happens quite a bit.
Yeah. Again, it's going to be combined with generally death. It's also, most of the times actually, there's a few instances where it's not. It's also going to be combined with whenever bear attacks.
Yes, exactly. This rule specifically is one that combines with a lot of rules, separate rules, I guess. So just bear that in mind when you bear.
I get it.
Pun not intended.
Anyways, let's move on to the final rule, which is whenever a gun is fired. I think this one's going to have a good chunk of sips, to be honest, especially since their main objective is to kill the bear. And we have people such as drug lords who have a lot of guns.
There isn't a lot of scenes where they're just going crazy with gunfire, so they are spaced out at least. But when they do fire the gun, it gives you a few sips right back to back to back kind of thing. So it comes in clusters, which leads us to our drinking game difficulty. And reminding you, there's no drink totals because, again, spoilers. But we can tell you with 100% confidence, this is going to be a difficult one. We did try to include some easy rules just to balance out some of the hard hitters. But a lot of the rules do come in clusters, so it can be pretty difficult in that regard as well.
Yeah, I guess notable ones are scream, cry, yell, death, obviously. Cocaine is seen, or bear is seen, are the main ones that really stick out.
For sure. And even bear attacking. There's a lot it'll hit you hard. I think it's a good one to play with your friends because, well, it doesn't take itself too seriously, so it's funny to watch. It's entertaining to watch with friends, and you get to watch these cool kills done by a bear, gruesome kills, and it's just a good one to get messed up on and laugh at, I guess.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's not gonna really take you too much out of it if people are just having fun talking throughout the entire movie. It's gonna be one of those movies where it's just a lot of fun for the most part, and you don't really have to pay attention. The movie can be on in the background, and you can just be having fun with your friends. You can pay attention to it. There's not a lot going on plot-wise, but all in all, it's a pretty good movie, to be honest.
Yeah, it's definitely entertaining and worth a watch, and we strongly recommend it if you haven't watched it yet. But with that being said, that wraps up our drinking game for Cocaine Bear. Make sure you like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on the drinks that we have coming out and some videos that we made for the birds, Videodrome. We got a few on the list, so just subscribe and stay tuned for that. But with that being said, thanks for tuning in, and this is us saying cheers to fears.